All right, everybody. Hi, it's David Kramer, the Critical Thinking Christian. Today I want to talk about communion, the Christian practice of communion, and some of its pagan origins. Uh, and I forgot something. I forgot something. Uh, I want to look for verses in Torah that prohibit uh, eating flesh and drinking blood. Sorry about this. I was thinking about it, but then I got all this other information that took over. Now there's animal. We'll go over here to got questions. All right. Okay, the Bible's first prohibition against consuming blood comes from Genesis 9 verses 24. It says that the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth and upon every bird of heaven, upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea, and into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And let's go over here. Okay, but you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is its blood. In other words, drain the blood out after you eat it. So that's animal blood. Okay. And, I want to see. I asked about the Torah here. 83 Bible verses about cannibalism. Listen up, Christians. Well, now this here, now every instance here where cannibalism is talked about, it's where God is essentially judging the people. Okay? And it says, therefore the fathers shall eat their sons in your midst, and the sons shall eat their fathers, and I will execute judgments on you, and any of you who survive I will scatter in all the winds. Jeremiah 19:9. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters, and every one shall eat the flesh of his neighbor in the siege and in the distress with which their enemies and those who seek their life afflicts them. So there's nothing here that essentially says don't cannibalize. But whenever it talks about cannibalization, it's talking about it in a negative context where it's saying, I'm going to make you do this. I will force this on you because you've disobeyed me. Drinking blood, you're not supposed to drink any blood. Okay? You shall not eat flesh with its life, that is its blood. So you don't, now, I don't follow this. I will eat a medium rare steak. Okay, sometimes it depends on what kind of cut of meat you get. if it don't have a lot of fat, the best way to eat it, because it's going to be somewhat tender, is you eat it medium rare. You know, it's like people say, well, you just don't know how to make it. Well, if it tastes good, I know how to make it. That's how I see it. Yeah. So here it just shows in the Old Testament how any time it talks about cannibalism, it's talking about it in a negative context where it's a judgment by God. And blood drinking, not supposed to drink. You're not supposed to drink blood at all. So, but then we get into Christianity, and the next thing you know, what you're doing is you're symbolically eating the flesh of Christ and drinking his blood. And transubstantiation in the Catholic religion, they believe that it actually turns into the flesh and the blood of Christ, and then they eat it. Now, the evangelical will point at the Catholic and say, that's pagan, that's evil, if you believe that. And the Catholic will say, no, we're not. You don't believe the way we do, so you're evil. But here's how I look at it. Just because a Catholic believes that happens, does it? No. So what are they doing? Okay, now the Catholic will drink a little bit of wine with the bread or the wafer that they have. The evangelical, I think most of them, there are some evangelical churches that probably will serve wine, but once again, it's just a little bit. But both they're doing the same thing. Everything here is symbolism. That's what it is. It's symbolic. And my question is, why the God of the Old Testament, the God of the Old Testament was always saying, I'm not like those other gods. He was always telling his people, don't follow after those other gods. Yet when you get into the New Testament, all of a sudden, you have stuff like communion that harkens back to pagan religions. Okay, and I'm going to use Egyptian religion of the worship of Isis and Osiris. Okay, both Isis and Osiris were gods of generation, conception, growth, and rebirth. And they were they had different things they were in control of, but agriculture was one of their main ones that they were in control of. So at planting time, that would be symbolic of Osiris dying. And at harvest time, it would be symbolic of him rising. And then they would have different annual celebrations where they would have holy sacraments where they would make a wheat paste into the image of the god, and it would be eaten. And they would also have beer or wine that was drank, and the beer would be made out of wheat and barley, and it was to represent the blood of Osiris. So, and this here, let's see, let's go over here. The ritual probably wasn't original to Mithraism either. In Egypt, around 3100 BC, priests would consecrate cakes which were to become the flesh of the god Osiris and eaten. You also have, like I said, the Mithraic religion where they worship the god Mithram, and it mirrored the Catholic Eucharist rite, the idea of transubstantiation, which was a characteristic of Mithraic sacrament that included cake and I'm going to probably butcher this, Haoma drink. I have what the Haoma is. It's a plant that has stems, roots, and branches. It has it's tall, fragrant, golden green. It can be pressed, and it grows on the mountains. The attributes of it furthers healing, it furthers sexual arousal, It is physically strengthening. It stimulates alertness and awareness, and it's mildly intoxicating, the extract, and it has negative side effects, and it can be nourishing. Okay, I'm going to click out of that. One of the things about the Mithraic religion is they do drink wine, but it includes bread and wine, which were believed to be the flesh and the blood of a great bull that was slain by Mithras. Now, that there, I don't have much problem with that, because I eat meat. I eat steak. And right now I'm drinking some beer, so I would have fit in pretty good with, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have worshipped Osiris, but I would have pretended I was, just so I could go to the, festival and drink beer. It's like, give me another bottle of that, But here we have a flesh and blood communion. Okay? Dionysus. Dionysus revealed that not only, Dionysus is supposed to have been born of a virgin, but his blood is wine to be shared. So you have all of this pagan, these pagan parallels to Christianity, which, apologists will, the image of Christianity gets tarnished, and you'll look at the pagan parallels to communion, and then the apologist will be rubbing it, going, no, I can get this off. Don't worry. I'm just going to do all these mental gymnastics and got to get. See, we got it. It's clouding up again, but don't worry. Christianity has a lot of pagan parallels. And as I step back from Christianity, I see where they're taking bits and pieces of all of these pagan religions, and they're piecing them together, spinning stories around them, and saying, this is real. And I know of 1 Corinthians, if I'm correct, is it 1st or 2nd Corinthians? I don't know, I didn't look that up. But there's a place in Corinthians where Paul is complaining about these former pagans that have come into Christianity, and they're taking communion, and they're getting drunk, and they're overeating at communion. And he said, and some are sick, and some have died. Yeah, that's what they did in their pagan religion, whatever it was, whether they were worshiping, giving homage to Dionysus, or whether they were in that Mithraic religion, that's what they did. So, or you also had Hellenistic Jews who were taken down into Egypt by Ptolemy, if I'm correct. And they learned the pagan mythology, of Osiris, and they probably partook in that religion. And then they hear about this Jesus, and they hear about all these parallels that kind of, it's like, wow, that sounds like what I'm doing. So they come into it. And now what are they doing? Give me some more, boom. Yeah, I'm going to eat as much as possible. And Paul was saying, well, some people don't even get to eat or drink because these people here are eating. God says, I'm not like other gods. He tells his people how many times in the Old Testament, don't do what they do. When we get into the New Testament, all of a sudden, you have gods impregnating women and creating these hybrids. You have, and then doing amazing, wonderful works. You have communion rituals that parallel pagan rituals. So I'm looking at it. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. I'm looking at it as, like I said, it's just a hodgepodge of Judaism, paganism, and a different, okay, you can get to heaven. Okay, if you believe in this guy here, you can get to heaven, and we've got all this stuff that will draw you in, okay, so that we can have our own little religion here, okay. But I wanted to do this on communion, and I see communion as it's just paganism, and you just stamp Christianity on it and say it's good. And that's the thing, Christian. Think about it. Why are you symbolically eating flesh and drinking blood? In order, here, to remember him. To remember him. His body was broken for you. He shed his blood for you. You preach that to me enough, I can remember that without having to go through some damn ritual. And so can you. And if this here, and like I said, too many parallels for a God who's not like other gods. And think about that too. So that's pretty much what I have today. That's what I wanted to get out. Let me get over here. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Like it, dislike it, subscribe, don't subscribe. But I'm going to continue to try to pump more videos out. And like I said, I'm not a scholar. I'm just a former Christian who, like I said, I stepped back from it and I'm trying to figure out why it's, I don't know what to say. Christianity gives people purpose. Okay, like Buddhism gives people purpose. Hinduism gives people purpose. You're a Mormon, that gives you purpose. You're a Jehovah's Witness, that gives you purpose. Okay, you're a pagan. Okay, you're worshiping the earth and you're trying to take care of the earth. That gives you purpose. That's pretty much all I see religion is. It's just something that gives people purpose. It's not going to lead you to a heaven or a hell, but while you're here, it gives you purpose. Now, like I said, I believe in a God. I believe there is a God, and some people say, well, extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. Yeah, and you not believing in a God, that's the same. Extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. So, you prove to me there's no God. So, okay. And I'll prove to you there is a God. And you know how long that's going to take? Yeah, none of us are going to be alive. We're never going to figure it out. We're never going to be able to prove it. Especially if this God decides, I'm going to be hidden, I'm hiding. Yeah. So, that's it. That's all I have for today. I will be back with more videos. There's a lot to cover, and I do get lazy. I work hard. And I shouldn't say I get lazy. I work hard, I get tired, and my brain don't work too good. But anyway, until next time, I'm David Kramer, the Critical Thinking Christian.